And welcome back. Today flying out the Ki-44. We're going to be flying out the one with the 40 mils as well as the one with the 450 cals. And the 150 cal just went up in BR, and some people were saying that it's not completely justified. And I'm just here to tell you that it completely was. I got an 8 kill game for you in the normal one as well as some dogfights in this one. But let's not waste any time on that. The Ki-44 is one of those planes that doesn't fly anything like most of the other Japanese planes. It climbs well, that's still within the realm of Japan. But it's also very fast and it doesn't turn that well. It's very stiff, and this is of course comparing it to other Japanese planes because it's still pretty maneuverable. It's not a brick by any means, but keep in mind you don't turn that well. Your instantaneous turn time is nothing like a Ki-43 or a Zero. And the one with the 40 mil now is actually pretty damn viable. It's 2.3 and it has the exact same flight model as a 3.3 one, but of course you will trade in 2 of the 50 cals for 2 of the 40 mils. The 40 mils are pretty unwieldy. They are very low velocity. They will hit the end of the runway if you shoot them on the ground. So be aware of that as well. But the 50 cals are still pretty potent as they got buffed pretty recently. And they actually do some pretty damn good damage now. Let's get right into the gameplay. We have the G50 here as well as the C200, and both of these planes are basically completely helpless. I'm already above them. I'm going with pretty decent speed and they need to pitch up for me to actually get their guns anywhere near me. The C200 here doesn't really pose a threat, and the G50 was already merging behind us and he's also just too far away. So I will just focus on the C200 here. He decides to dive away, which is the correct thing to do. And then we start pulling back into the G50. And the G50 here is too slow to pull in for the head-on. We just shoot in the head-on here, we set him on fire and we go straight back up. The C200 is still behind us, telling Razor that I got this in the bag so he can leave me alone. And the C200 here is just, he's not gonna get anyone near me, and you really just have to know when you want to break off. I could have stuck on the C200 there, I could have gone down to the deck with him, wasted a lot of energy, but then the guy that I just set on fire, the G50, would have been behind and above me and he probably would have been able to kill me. So you want to switch off to the target that's actually posing a threat. The second that guy dove out, he started becoming largely useless. See some tracers coming in from a friendly. We make sure that we stop shooting, and once I barrel stuff these guns right into his cockpit, I squeeze the trigger, we shoot some 40 mils, one hits his plane and he gets completely disintegrated. So we dive over to the furball that's on the other side of the map. The Ki-44 tries to go head on, so we just break off. We're going way too fast to waste all that energy into a head on where it comes to 50-50. So I just break off, I go straight up. He's trying to stay underneath me and trying to get out of my guns, so I just delay my turn a little bit and we will cut right into his loop. Set him on fire, take his wing off, and the power of these guns is pretty insane. They're still not cannons, but keep in mind I only have 250 cals on this plane. And they kill people pretty quickly. They are not very consistent all the time, so sometimes you'll still, they are a little bit hit and miss. But keep in mind, you only have 250 cals. And they got buffed just like the Italian ones a little while ago. But between the two, these ones really won the lottery. They are so much better than what they once were. And just to show you that, we're gonna get 8 kills here and 1 ammo load. In a pretty short time span too. So we're gonna start off with the P40 here. He's going straight up. He's basically not paying attention. Kill his pilot and then we just instantly set him on fire. Yak 7 coming in. We do not want to go head on with that because we won't get a shot anyway. So we turn back into the second Yak 7. Get some shots in, set his engine on fire, and we start turning back into the original Yak 7. Get out of his guns. Dodge the second guy that's still very much a threat. Even though he's on fire, he's still completely fine. He's gonna die in the long run, but he's not dead yet, and that gun still does a lot of damage. He had lag 3 here, not getting the shot. Yak 7 is giving me a shot here, so we lead a little bit, set him on fire in a single shot, and then we kill his pilot with the second one. Lag 3 is now on R6, but he breaks off to one of the friendlies. So we start going over there to help him out. He's going very slow, he's completely preoccupied. And even when I'm shooting him, he's not a knower, he's not looking around, and he's not paying attention. And that's 4 kills in a very short time span. And I still have more than half my ammo load. More roughly around 60-70% mark. H81, which is a P40 of the Chinese Tech 3. We shoot a little bit at him, we get a crit. He starts going vertical, so we just spray a little bit, and there you have it. An ace in about 1 minute 15. Definitely not the fastest I've ever gotten, but for the guns that I have, under 1.5 minutes, that's pretty damn good. Now we start diving in. We got a lag 3 as well as a P40 and IL-2 in the background there. And the P40 here is getting engaged by the E1, so I'm just going to go for the lag 3 here. Because a little bit of teamwork is always a nice thing to have. So I'm just diving in now, and the lag 3 is really not posing much of a threat. So we just go head on, we shoot a few rounds, and we take his pilot out. And then we go for the IL-2. P40 is getting hosed at by the BF-109E. And the IL-2 is slotting in on the 6 of the BF-109. So right now, this IL-2 might be the one without a gunner, and if it is, that'd be completely fantastic. But unfortunately for us, he's already turning around, and we are not going to get a very long firing window. It is the one without the gunner. We get a crit in, we keep turning, and then my recording gets stuck, I guess. Not sure what's going on here. I hope it picks up in a second. If it does, then I will there we go. Then I will continue on with the recording. But there's not much left of it anyway. There's just a P39K that has been camping the base for a very long while now. It's just been running. And I'm not having this guy land, take back off, and then start circling again. So I'm gonna try to strafe him. And AA in props especially is an absolute pain in the ass. And this is one of my more favorable, or one of my more lucky runs, because I don't actually die before I get the kill in, especially in a Japanese plane. I put the fire out the first time. We're gonna be put on fire in a second again here. And you just get absolutely perforated. I get it. Anti-air should be a deterrent, but it shouldn't be abusable like it is. And I'm not gonna go into a rant about base AA again, but it's way too powerful. And especially with the frontline bases that we have nowadays as well, with the extra little airfields, there should be a trade-off. It should be either a closer proximity landing so you can resupply quicker to ground pound, or you should have the safety of the main base. Why do both bases have the same safety level? It almost litters half the map with AA, and now with the new mid-map AA systems, which are almost as deadly, just extremely random, you can't fly anywhere anymore. What's next? We have to fly on our own side of the map because we can't go to the enemy side of the map. And then a little bit later they just buff it so that they might randomly identify you as an enemy, so you even get killed by your friendly AA. Where does it end? They keep buffing it, they keep making it better, and we really, well, I think we should really do something about it. But nothing will happen about it anyway, so let's start looking at the gameplay again. We got the P400 here, absolute shit brick of a plane. And what does he do? What can he do to counter me here? He dives away. Perfectly viable, because if I follow him I will waste a lot of energy, and if he keeps fighting me up here he will simply just die. And the P400 is one of those planes you'll never see me play in, so don't even bother requesting it. Maybe if you PayPal me $200, but it's simply not gonna happen. Instead we're gonna be looking at this Spitfire. It's a Logie Bear 8-bit, I think, 8-bit, Logie Bear 8-bit, whatever, Logie Bear. The other two are too low and are not going to be doing much. And it's the very end of the game, and I'm about 600 score in right now on just hits alone. And I'm not having a great time. And now the Spitfire here wants to fight me. The other two are breaking off. So we can start doing something that I really enjoy doing. And that's fighting Spitfires in a plane that have a lot of engine power and a decent amount of speed. So I'm gonna start diving in slightly here. He is still slightly climbing, so he's bleeding speed. I'm picking it up by the slight dive and going 500 speed, 400 IES. So we pull in slightly here and we just need to dodge the head on. And once we do, he essentially dies. The Spitfire Mark IIB, not the worst plane, not the best plane, but at this altitude he's not gonna be doing very well. And we're not gonna start dogfighting him fully from the start, from the get-go. We need to bleed him off his speed a little bit first. He turns off, we get a little bit of altitude with the speed that we have, and then we start to turn. And if he tries to follow me now, he will not have the energy to do anything about it. And he does the correct thing, and he doesn't instantly turn after me and try to pitch back up, because it's not gonna happen. Instead, he waits a little bit, he lets me attack him, which is the correct thing to do here. I'm gonna go down a little bit to pick up some speed, to cut off his flight path. And he's noticing it, and he is rolling around, and he's staying out of my guns. Now we need to be careful that I don't get stuck in his fight, which is just simply raid fighting, turn fighting, and all that good stuff. I want to keep this an energy fight, but I'm directly on a 6, and as long as he keeps turning into one direction, he will slowly but surely run out of energy. And if he reverses his turn, I will get a shot, and after I get that shot, I will just break off, and he's slowly losing his speed. I will drop down my nose a little bit to pick up again some speed. And if he thinks about turning the same way as me, well, I can simply break off just like we do here. Now we have a little bit of separation. He just had to do a full 180 and then do another 180, so he lost a lot of speed doing that, and I'm a lot faster to begin with. The climb rate is pretty comparable, but at combat speeds my climb rate is a lot higher, and you can tell that I'm just leaving this guy in the dust despite me putting it into a slight climb. And if he tries to follow me now, he will simply lose all his energy and die. The problem is I only have 1 minute of battle time left, because 25 minutes, it's definitely a great mechanic. Gaijin is definitely doing the right thing for RRB and making it more enjoyable every patch. So after getting a little bit of altitude, he is still going 300, he's not really catching me, so I will put it up into this horizontal slight climb. I want to get some altitude, but I don't want to go too steep because then he can cut me off. Now I have some speed to complete the loop, and I have exactly that, and I'm going to get the shot here, and he's just simply all out of energy. He doesn't want to follow that. Then we get some hits in, get some crits in. He is completely boned at this point. The problem is the battle time is about to end, and you can already tell that the music is kicking in. You already know exactly what's going to happen here, but it's a little bit worse than you might have thought. And there we go, that's the inconsistency of these guns. Sometimes they just hit like a truck, and sometimes they do that. So they're a little bit inconsistent, so don't rely on them too much. But again, I only have 2 of them. Now we're firmly on the 6, he's definitely very badly damaged. And then just as we pilot snipe him, the game end doesn't count, and we get 525 score for just some hits.